Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, Dubai, 1 o'clock in the morning version. But we're doing it because of big news out of HPQ Silicon. The headline: HPQ Silicon secures patent for key lithium-ion battery cathode material. Bernard, welcome back, my friend. We got a lot to talk about.
Thank you.
Okay, I didn't see this coming. Up until now, it's all been anodes. Uh, what I wasn't expecting this. I didn't have a clue. This came out completely left field. Very interesting. A lot of people are excited about it. Give us some background on where the hell this thing came from and why it happened.
Well, as you know, we have a technical team out of Lyon that's very involved in battery materials. So they do attend a lot of conferences, either in China, Asia, all over the world on battery materials. They're right now in Japan on a battery conference, battery and hydrogen type of conferences. And during one of those meetings, they started to see that fume alumina and fume titanium, okay, was becoming a material that's going to be more and more in demand in the cathode side because of the specific properties it has. And it dawned on them that this could be a material where our HPQ Silica Pulveris fume silica reactor technology could be used to do the same type of transformative changes that we've done to fume silica, okay, to do to other oxide-based material that are based on flame hydrolysis, okay. So light bulb occurred. They did the study, they did the research, they did the material, and we filed the patent in HPQ's name because of a lot of the things coming into it. But then now, once we file the patent, then we can start talking about it. Because interestingly enough, the same big players in fume silica are the same big players in fume titania and fume alumina. So in our mind, made sense to offer, present, become a competitors in all those aspects to attract even more interest in what we're doing. We're very confident about the fume silica thing. It's just one of those incredibly big add-on that we did.
And by the way, that's the crazy crossover part.
Mm-hmm.
Up until now, we were talking about fume silica, and we've
Mm-hmm.
talked about those applications in food and powders and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also been talking about advanced silicon materials for anodes.
Mm-hmm.
So two totally separate things. Now we got the fume silica or the fume process, anyways, crossing over to the cathodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's almost this crazy intertwining is gonna require Venn diagrams to keep up with.
Well, no, it's not overwhelmingly complicated. Okay, fume aluminum and fume titanium are used industrially and have the same size market as fume silica. So there are three equivalent markets. The only thing that made the thing pop up in our head and says, "Wait a minute, light bulb, this is something we got to take a look at," was the fact that it's becoming much more an important material, okay, in the battery side, but as opposed to the anode side, it's for the cathode side. So it increases for HPQ, it increases its visibility, okay, in the battery space. For HPQ Silica Pulveris, it increases the potential transformative capacity of the technology in three big markets. So we go from having one market, which was already big enough for us to generate significant potential returns, potential profitabilities, potential market shares, and now we have it three times the same thing. And what simplifies everything is that we are already in discussion with the big players for the fume silica. I'm pretty sure that the phone's going to ring off the phone for them. Just to answer people, we do not discuss what goes on until we file the patent, and we just filed it. So we keep it
Yeah, so
very
this has
under
been in the
wrap.
works for a while, right? This
Yeah.
wasn't your guys were at a conference and they realized something. How long has this been in the works for? When did the light bulb first go off? How long have you guys been working on? Obviously,
Probably
submitting
something,
patents is
probably like something around 6 months, but nobody knew about it because once you have those type of ideas, you keep it extremely close to your vest. You don't talk about it until you file the provisional patent, and that's the concept where you file the provisional patents because you have the time, and then we have between 9 to 18 months to improve the process, do the improvement, do these type of things. So it fits perfectly well what we're doing.
so the fume silica guys. Okay, obviously we know about Evonik, and you had mentioned more than a few times that there are
Mhm.
other big fume silica players that had signed
Mhm.
NDAs.
Mhm.
Is it safe to assume that all of those players are also in the, you know, these fume products for the cathode? So does
It's
this
called,
break
it's
open
called,
the
it's
conversations now?
yeah, wow, I believe it. I'm pretty sure it's so. It's called oxide material. Okay. Um, at Evonik, it's all part of a new division they created called Smart Material. So for us, it's literally going to be easier to continue a conversation because it's probably going to be the same person. They're just going to be surprised. They say, okay, surprise. That's literally what's going to happen. But it's the same type of discussion. It's going to be the same thing with the other group. Now, naturally, as we validate that the fume silica reactor works, then this becomes much more and more a reality that we can transfer that technology to other oxide material produce. We've identified those two because of the battery application, because we have a battery knowledge within the company.
So you could potentially have a situation where you do a fume silica deal with Evonik because you guys been at it for so long, and
Mhm.
then you end up doing these fume products on the cathode side with George Con batteries or something like that.
It would
You
not
could
be George.
potentially,
It would not be with George Con battery. It would be with George Con oxide metal division. Okay.
okay, right, in that same
Um,
group, in that
in,
same
in,
family as
in,
Evonik, like competitors of Evonik.
yeah, yeah. But between you, me, and the four wall, I do not foresee that happening. If somebody's going to go for one, they're going to make sure that they want everything. So basically, what we're doing is making
Well, hold on,
sure.
wait. Devil's advocate, and people are gonna say, George, why interrupting Bernard? But you're talking about fume silica's $2-3 billion, but these are also each
Mhm,
one is 2-3 billion. So you're talking about you've gone from 2-3 billion to 6-9 billion.
mhm.
Is
Addressable
there a
market,
company
yes,
out there that could handle this all on their own?
they do already.
Pardon me?
George, Ivanek, because we've discussed in the fume silica, as I just said, it's part of, people should look at the one reference sources and click on it and see where it goes. They'll figure out. But fundamentally, okay, Evonik is already in that market. It's already making that material. They already have plants doing this. Okay. It's exactly the same thing as in fume silica. If when we validate this technology works for all these issues, um, then the same theoretical change. In this case, specific case, we haven't done all the math of where it is, but we know it should be in the same general ballpark as with the fume silica. We'll do it, but because we couldn't, I can go and ask him, please give me some of your information, how much, all the technical data on your other oxide material. It could have lit up a few lights that we didn't want to.
If I think I know what you're saying there, does this alter the power, the power equation at all? Because before it's like, hey, HPQ's got this fume silica, cool. So if we can license, purchase, JV, whatever might come of it, great. But now all of a sudden you renounce a patent for cathodes. Did does the
It's
power
not for
shift
cathode.
all much
Cathode,
more to HPQ now because you, for lack of a better term, you threaten or you become very relevant to multiple lines of business of these fume companies.
okay. First of all, it's not cathode per se, it's oxide material done through flame pyrolysis. Okay. It's those markets. Yes, we
Yeah.
become we were already one in the fume silica one that attracted interest, and we demonstrated we could do the material. Now, if we demonstrate those two things, we then triple the value. We triple the interest in what we're doing. So yes, in a certain way, we become more difficult to just shoo away and move out of the place. But it was all part of the strategy. Once we understood that there was a battery lineage we could do, because that's how we figured it out. It's like, how can I say this? We always knew that we could do more materials with the fume silica reactor, but there was no like, okay, where does this fit in within what HPQ does? All right. But now that we are doing materials for batteries, mostly silicone anode improved material, it makes completely sense that we also do for cathode if it improves the performance, because the balance between a cathode and an anode for the performance plays into it. At a certain point, there's limitation where you can do with all those type of issues. But fundamentally, this is where it is. It is because of our battery expertise that we clued in on this incredible market opportunity, and that's where we moved in.
One thing about the fume silica side that got everyone's attention was that you literally shattered, and I'd said that on previous interviews many times. You shattered a lot of the economic metrics and just a lot of the metrics in general. Here in this press release, you're talking about the process is more energy efficient, it's more cost effective. Have you quantified the savings compared to the conventional flame hydrolysis methods? Like, are you shattering there as well, or is it more incremental?
I believe it'll be shattering, but we didn't go down in making those math for the simple reason because we already have the technology sort of being developed for the fume silica reactor. So it's not going from beginning to end. What this suddenly does, it expands the market size. So we haven't done to do full mass because that wasn't our objective. Our objective was, can we make the material using our existing fume silica reactor, process technology? It's going to require a few quirks and improvement, a few modification. We know that, but still, can the general concept of the idea is, and if it is, then it doesn't take a genius to figure out that because we're going to have a direct process without the need of all the parts of the process of traditional oxide pyrolysis material, we will have the advantage. Just to give you a constraint of the industry presently, if you read about fume aluminum and fume titanium, one of the limitations to meet the market, okay, are always the environmental and dangerosity issues related to the traditional process. Okay, so you're talking about,
Dangerosity?
well, it's sort of like a Franco world, dangerosity. Sorry.
Okay. All right. All right.
It's not a Bernieism. It's just a Acadien type, not Acadien, but you know how it is. Usually we use English word in French, so I'm using a French word in English.
Got it.
But it's really related to that, and that's a known factor. And if you see images of fume alumina plant, they're big chemical plant process. What we're doing with our technology is we're replacing a chemical process by a thermic one based on plasma.
Do you guys have any idea of what the competitive landscape looks like? Uh, and and if this is going to take another year, like Fume Silica took about a year to get from announcements to NDAs, LOI to now we may or may not talk about this, I don't know at the end, but now we're expecting you're going to be close to be able to ship off samples to Evonik. Does this fumed alumina and fumed titania go through the same process, or will it be much faster because you've kind of gone through with fumed silica? Are they going to need a year to kind of progress down that path?
We're gonna have to sit down with the engineers at Pyro and figuring out at one point how we can transform the equipment that does fume silica into the one to do those fume material, and we'll choose which one is the best one. It's going to be mostly theoretical, but just conceptual idea of the potential of the technology and the application or even the possibility of us, licensing these type of technology will come into it. So it's going to be a different type of situation because we'll have a track record of having demonstrated that our fume silica reactor can do fume silica. So if we're basically telling them, okay, the same process is going to work to do fume alumina, it's going to require just the testing of making it work. Well, we started doing it at a pilot level, or we have to go to lab scale. Those are things to be discussed. Right now, it's mostly not theoretical, okay, but it's theoretical based on a actual system, and it's normal. This is where it is because you want to protect it.
Do you see HPQ as a key supplier of both anode and cathode materials? Or is this expansion more like a strategic IP play?
I would say first a strategic IP play because it increases the potential value of our subsidiary called HPQ Silicon Pulveris. Okay. It theoretically triples the potential value of that company. It theoretically triples the market we can attack, and it theoretically, tripled. It's going to hopefully triple the interest from the parties under NDAs and other parties that are going to be interested coming into this. So we think it's a strategic IP move that can be quickly moved into material manufacturing. And if we have to license this technology, we'll be very happy. We're not agnostic. We're not stubborn on HPQ being the manufacturer. Okay, maybe the potential is going to be so big that a company will say, okay, we'll start to take the lead. That's fine, as long as we get our good share of the money and decent amount of
How
money.
does how does okay, when you say things like that, you guys
Well, no, it's
obviously have a
just
good
well,
idea.
no, but like
Uh,
it's like we didn't do all this work just to to get four quarters for a dollar. You know.
no, but you've got some pretty good confidence. It sounds like you've got some pretty good confidence in the economics of this and the viability of this.
Yeah, yeah.
How does pyrogenesis play into all this?
Well, Pyrogenesis is the technology supplier. Pyrogenesis is a partner into the HPQ Silica Pulveris. It will require us to sit down. Well, as I said, when we file the patent, you can't start blabbering all over the place. And it's the same way that Pyro works, in the sense that if they were doing something for me, they barely didn't talk about it. It says, okay, we filed the provisional patent, then we moved on because I acquired the provisional patent after they were filed. So the discussion always start after the provisional patent is filed. So, but it's not a complicated discussion. Come on, like they're down the street from where I am right now. I actually see their office from here. Um, it's going to be an easy conversation because they will see the same economic advantage that we see in HPQ, which is if you have one process that can do three things, it's much better than having, okay, we already have one process that is very good, that's doing a thing great, has a great value, and Pyro demonstrated their commitment by converting their shares at 27 cents, their dues into shares at 27 cents, by taking a 50% equity stake into, well, converting their royalty, because a perpetual royalty of 10% is worth a lot of money. It's
Oh
worth a
yeah.
lot of money. It's worth a lot of money to say, okay, we'll be 50-50 partnership in the project. So that's for me, it's an addition. It's a plus plus plus. It's not really a no cost, but it's an almost no cost way of tripling the potential and therefore reducing the risk 3 times. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Do you foresee do you foresee a situation, and again, the silicon anode materials are done a totally different way
mhm,
than this new
mhm,
cathode.
mhm.
Um, do you foresee a situation where this could become an integrated, a one-stop shop solution, where it could be HPQ's materials on both sides? You go to the market and say, "Hey, we got you. We got both sides covered, the anode and the cathode."
It could be, but what could also happen is that a big player that's involved in one sector says, "Wait a minute, maybe I'm interested in the entire, being able to offer the entire um, gauntlet of materials." So being able to offer a silicone anode material with all the other material that comes into it. You have to understand that there are people that are specialized in just being suppliers of industrial material used by battery manufacturers, and especially in the day and age where we're entering, where long-term investment become much more difficult because of potential tariff rules. Our small, basically scalable technologies, perfectly designed for amalgamating with gigafactories and all those type of things, fits very, very well. Remember, one of the reasons why a lot of technology was offshore was because of the environmental issue with the traditional process and the cost associated with operating those technologies into more, how can I say, Europe, more North American, European type of areas. If you're operating those type of plant in California, it's going to be much more expensive than doing it in Texas, but still overall, doing it in Texas is still going to be more expensive than doing it in China because of the environmental rules. So this is where our new system, our new technologies, okay, have fit perfectly into this new reality. We didn't set out for this new reality. It's just that it came out. It's fitting into it. So it's perfectly pre-adapted to this new crazy reality we're in.
We've been talking about a lot of good news, good vibes, future outlook, and rightfully so. But I got to ask you, what are the challenges on this side with these with the fumed alumina and fumed titania? Do those present their own sets of challenges? What worries you, or maybe there are no worries whatsoever? What are the challenges look like?
Well, maybe it's the insanity of being the CEO of an R&D company. Sometimes, you go forward without stopping to overly risk every one of the risks. Because if you start looking at every one of the risks, you will not do anything. And that's what we're doing moving forward. But overall, I feel very confident about this material, this strategy of expanding it. I think it's also a demonstration of the strength of the Novasium team, being able to understand, pick up on the market opportunity, okay, and figure a way how we can use technologies that we've already spent money developing, okay, and expand its value. That's literally what we're doing. We're tripling the value of
Sure.
the fume silica reactor through a simple, and I do use the word simple in air quotes, simple process of filing a provisional patent because we understand all the steps that go into moving forward.
Challenges from the market side. So I'm gonna stay with challenges. So
Mhm.
that's the tech side.
Mhm.
Any how different how different is the marketing side of this? How different is the business side for
I
materials for cathodes, or is it the same, or you go to the exact same people?
Mhm. Well, you go
You just
to
have three products in your bag versus one.
eventually you go to battery manufacturer. Okay, you're gonna go to gigafactories, large scale factories, 18650 type of batteries. That's what you're doing, the same type of things that we're doing. You're just having one more product to come into it. We may end up, working with specialized companies that do cathode material, but in my, what could happen also is somebody says, wait a minute, I have this great cathode material, but if I add this material, then it's become twice as good. Same thing as we're doing right now with the silicone anode. We're looking and working with graphite manufacturers. Why? Because we make their graphite better. Okay, so it's an easier combination. Same thing is probably going to happen with a cathode. Now, naturally, if we continue to talk with the big players that I've previously mentioned, well, they already have their clients. So if there's a new process into it that's greener into it, they might want to try it.
Given the fact you have three um, kicks at the can now, how does that change what a commercial deal was first looking like? And I don't even know if we know what that looked like, but does it change, what you were originally thinking you're going to do with Evonik on fume silica? Does it totally change? Now do you almost have to go licensing, uh, partnerships? Because potentially, and again, I have no insight into it, I want to be clear, but potentially you could have had Evonik or somebody else say, "We'll buy this from you. We'll buy the fume silica from you. Bam, we're going to write you a check and we'll just buy it from you and be done with you." Um, I'm not so sure that's as easy now for all three of these. So does it change this potentially to,
No,
okay, this is so big, the markets are so big that we got to go licensing, or we got to go a different way?
well, the size of these companies, I don't think buying it outright is outside of complication. You have to realize that some of those companies have grown through acquisition of those type of technologies. It's how we could structure those type of things. Is it feasible? Yes. When will it happen? I don't know. I sort of have a philosophy point of view that you don't go out looking for a buyout, but you have to make sure that you demonstrate that the value of what you have is so strong that it becomes one of the logical conclusion. But those are just speculation at this moment. But for us, the job is this: okay, fume silica, validated the technology works. This is on the work. This is ongoing, and then with that track record, okay, then the potential technology for fume aluminum and fume titanium becomes even stronger. So we become a stronger partner for people to come and work with us. Does that make sense?
Have you, I don't know if you can answer this, but have you had any conversation? So clearly, from what you said earlier, you didn't speak to anybody, not even
Mm,
pyrogenesis. You didn't speak to anybody
mm.
because what you talk about, you got to go totally dark and quiet until you file the patent. Can you answer whether you file it, the press release goes out? Do you make a call to Evonik? Do they call you and say, "Hey, whoa, what's this? Is there dialogue, or
Well,
are you
first of
just?"
all, they can't really be any dialogue until we issue a press release on it. So there was no dialogue. And now the chain of dialogue will be started. And if I know the process, how it works, there'll be the usual question mark from the other side and come back and talk with us. They might just say, okay, we're really excited about this. Let's get the fume silica going. Like a lot of investors are probably telling me right now. But this is a great way for HPQ, as I said, to de-risk by a factor of 3 the fume silica reactor technology to basically, triple the size of the addressable market, triple the size of what we can do with the technology. And I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and by the way, I meant to be clear when I was saying that. I knew that from your comments earlier, you obviously hadn't spoke to Evonik beforehand, but
No.
I was just wondering. I know it's same day. I
Mhm.
mean, essentially, it's essentially what's 5 o'clock for you right now, give or take. Uh, and you put this process up before market open, so I thought, hey, maybe a phone call, maybe a conversation is taking place, or
Mm,
hey, let's talk about this tomorrow or Friday or something like that. Maybe the dialogue's
yeah,
already
but
begun.
even if it was, I wouldn't really be overly talking about it at this moment. It will be coming. I'm not worried about it. It will be coming. Definitely not worried about it.
Let's go on to some questions from Agoracom members.
Yes, people, please, if when you issue a press release, try to ask your question there. It's very interesting.
So we got two, one from Renaissance, one from Mag Beach 2. Renaissance. Last year, during interviews, you were
Mhm.
saying that there were piece of information that the FSR producing samples would answer to give you a better hand in negotiating a deal with NDAs. I don't recall that. I don't know if you recall that, but we're going to take Renaissance at their word. Were fumed alumina and fumed titanium part of it? Have samples of these two products already been made along fumed silica, or will there need to be modifications made to the current FSR or a complete new reactor built in order to be able to produce these two new products? Thank you and congratulations.
Okay, for the fume silica part, as we clearly explained, there was a lab scale equipment. Okay, and that lab scale equipment then produced the samples that were sent to Evonik that were approved, and we built the pilot plant. With regard to fume alumina and fume titanium, this was mostly a R&D type of design. We haven't made any sample product using the technology, but it was an obvious choice because we had at one point to protect the potential technologies, and now we have between as I say 8 to 18 months before we have to go what's called the national phase with this project, and by that time we'll get there. But we thought it was very important to get that secured because of the increase visibility of these material in the battery material space. And we feel very, very, very confident that we can convert the equipment. It will not be exactly the same because there's going to be some specificity with all material. But, it's like if you got 80% of the design down already and you're only going to work
Right.
on 20% of the design down, the R&D cost timeline and the R&D cost and timeline is going to be much shorter. I hope that answers the question.
Renaissance will let you know.
Yes, he will.
Renaissance will let you know. The other one is from Mag Beach 2.
Mhm.
I have no doubt that Evonik was pitched aspects of this patent slash product by HPQ. That might not be correct where you're saying, why wouldn't it? Why would they not? The NDA is probably sufficiently broad to cover this aspect as well. Also, this fits like a glove in what Evonik is envisioning as an offering of efficient and innovative technologies moving forward, does it not? If Evonik wants a prime seat at the table, I would anticipate them moving substantially to lock this down by some form of agreement, funding, licensing, etc., sooner rather than later. If not, they risk losing access to the proverbial golden goose, it's in quotes, and keys to their car of heading into the future. So, little bit of question at the beginning, and then more of a
Mhm.
statement. Uh,
Mhm.
your thoughts?
Well, first of all, as we said, no, we didn't go and talk with them, and there's tons of reason why we didn't do before, because we didn't think it was. We wanted to make sure that our patent was very well protected. So, as we say, when we file patent, we keep our mouth shut. We don't talk. You know, there's an old saying, "Loose lips sink ship." Well, in patent, loose lips sink patent. So we don't talk about it. But all of the other hypotheses that MacBeach made are part of the theories, the thesis that we have in regard of doing this. And it sort of like recovers pretty much what I just said. It will suddenly make the HPQ Silica Pulveris fume silica reactor technology much more valuable. And as we continue to advance, of course, there's going to be more dancing because there might be more competitors that suddenly come in. Maybe for just the fume silica, somebody says, "Nah, it's not worth it." But wait a minute, if it goes for all those three, then it's really going to be worth it. So, well, that's what we're hoping. That's why we did it.
Um, Last question, and I'm fading a little bit because it's like 2 a.m. over here. So, and this is no standard. This came out of nowhere. I gotta tell you, I'm still amazed at what you guys have pulled off here. I'm looking at your quote,
Mhm.
and you say this represents a leap forward in how critical battery materials can be produced at scale. For too long, battery material production has been slowed by costly multi-step processes. Our one-step approach simplifies manufacturing, et cetera, and so on, while reducing energy costs and making high-performance cathode materials more accessible.
Mhm.
Is this like is how big of a leap is this? Because on the anode side, um, it was pretty clear you're making real headway there.
Mhm.
Uh, on the cathode side, because it seems like it's two totally, even though even though they're both on the same battery, it seems like it's a totally different uh, part of it here. Is this how big of a leap forward is this on the cathode side?
I think on the cathode side, the leap forward is being done by the guys that do fume silica and fume titanium presently, in the sense that they're just doing a material that it's demonstrating that it's going to be big in that sector. What we're coming into it, and we suddenly become the competitor that came in of left field. That might, it's a bit like you remember fume silica. If we make it, There's no differentiation between fume silica A, fume silica B, as long as you meet the criteria. My belief is the same thing with fume aluminum, fume titanium. But if you come in with a process that makes it cheaper, easier, much more scalable, much more easier to implement, you'll have the victory. So it becomes something in the rear view mirrors. These guys might suddenly be getting very excited. Says, "Oh, wait a minute, this is a big market. The cathode material, we're going to control this because we control how fume aluminum and fume titanium is made through our complex, expensive processes." Okay, and then lo and behold, very efficient little HPQ silica pulveris HPQ comes in and says, "No, no, we can do it this way." Okay, if we hadn't I would say if we hadn't already done it to where we've done it in the fume silica side, I would probably presume that people might take it more with a bigger grain of salt. But what's going to happen with the fume silica, they're going to say, wait a minute, they've done it once. Let's take a look and see how dangerous this becomes. Remember, for these companies that are involved into this, have massive capex, this is a great new market that's coming into play for them. All right. And now they're suddenly saying, wait a minute, there's this small little, you know, company that comes along and it's just changing. Are we going to become a certain way the Netflix versus Blockbuster of manufacturing oxide metal? Maybe. There's a probability, the possibility we can do that. Because we'll have a track
And
record
then,
very, very soon.
okay, that seems like a little crumb you laid there because I was about to ask. I had to. Everyone would be yelling at me if I didn't because we've actually said the term
Well,
fume
they already
silica
yell at you, so don't worry about it.
50 times. Yeah, they do. But we've said the term fume silica 50 times in this interview. And the funny thing is, fume silica almost has nothing to do with the subject matter of.
Well,
So
no, the fume silica reactor. Okay.
I
The
have to ask
technology it means for the
how.
system.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So I got to ask you here at the end, how close? How does it look? How are things look in terms of the samples being sent over to Evonik on the fume silica side? You don't have to answer, but I have to ask. How's that looking?
What I can answer is everything is progressing as we anticipated, expected. Okay. I understand some people are going to say you should have finished this supposedly in June of last year or in December of this year. I understand this, but we are here. Um, and once I have something more concrete or be able to show a little, fluff of white powder, I'll gladly, have another interview. And then you're going to be back in North America with the snowstorm. You basically
I
ran
will
away
be
from the
back
winter.
on Friday. I will be back on Friday, and no, but this was totally worth it, man. You caught me off guard when you called me. I was in meetings all day, and you caught me off guard. But another big move, man. And it seems like from the little bit I read online, people were really happy with this. And by the way, great questions from.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if there are others because I literally was at meetings tonight, came in, kind of prepped quickly. But great questions from Renaissance and Mag Beach too. And I think the
Mhm.
Agoracom community there, the Agoracom HPQ forum now is really starting to accelerate again. And that's because you're participating more and all that. And you've told everybody you would. So for everybody watching, listening, keep that going. And
Thank
it's going to
you.
be in your best interest because they're sooner or later, Agoracom is going to be distributing some real rewards, and we've kind of talked about that. So, but in the meantime, as far as the engagement goes, it's fantastic engagement, Bernard. It's great. Yet these were really fantastic questions.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, very good. I was very happy that they're there and I'd like to check on them. And I think people now know a bit the routine. We do an interview. After there's a press release and we talk through the issues. Of course, there's a group of complainers. I don't know them. They complain about those videos, but they watch it to basically be able to basically to criticize it. So it's like
It's the
if you don't like the
strangest thing in
interviews,
the
don't
world.
listen to them. As far as I can tell, I'm not putting a gun to your head to listen to the interview. I offer this service. We offer this service where we present what we're doing. That's it. We just try to give a bit more background to what you can say on a written 2 page of papers. In this day and age, that's where the world is.
Yeah, and outside of that, just fantastic quality. Great. So keep it going, guys. Let's keep growing that engagement, the quality of the quantity. We're not looking for 500 posts a day and people bickering back and forth, just great quality over quantity, because we've always said that's what attracts serious audiences. The people who don't have time for the nonsense are more likely to read the quality over quantity, and that's what they look for. Bernard, congratulations to you and the team
Thank you.
and everybody. And unless there's a miracle or something like that, I won't be seeing you again from Dubai. So your HPQ Dubai podcaster is signing off on his last assignment until I'm here next time again in a couple months. But congratulations to you, the team, my man, and can't wait to have you back on, and hopefully sooner than later.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody at home. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey, small cap fam. I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agoracom? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agoracom small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.